Hello, in this video we're going to go through two questions that were emailed to me from students about the upcoming computer science exam. Don't mind the black marking here, just when the students sent it to me they had an answer there and I just scribbled it out. So the first one is we want to show the exact output for the following code segment. So what I see here is I have a for loop here, and the first thing that's important to remember with a for loop is that a for loop consists of three parts, we said. The first part I called the count, and this is the variable used to keep track of the count, the number of times it's executed. The next is what's called the check. So this is the check that occurs to see if we keep looping, and this is the change. This is what is the change that is applied to the count each time the code is executed. So this from here to here is my code block for the for loop. So it's important to remember with for loops that when it first reaches the for loop, we do initially we execute the count and then the check. So the first time we get there, we set the counter, we check if it's true. If it's true, it executes. If it's not, it skips. And then at the end of the loop, we do the change and then followed by the check again. So let's work through this one just to make sure we understand. I'm going to write a little bit of stuff over here. So what I do is I just grab my pen, and the first thing I do is I say, okay, well, the count is 6. So initially it's 6. And then I say to myself, is 6 less than 16? Yes. So now I say if I mod 2. So then I say, well, 6 mod 2, that's equivalent to 0. Now that's equal to 0, so therefore that's true. So therefore it prints out I, which is 6. And then we change, so we add 2 to 6, so we get 8. And then is 8 less than 16? Yes. So we get 8 mod 2. And sure enough, 8 mod 2 is equal to 0, so that's good. So we print out I, so we get 8. And then we get to the bottom, so we change, so we get to 10. Is 10 less than 16? Yes. So then we say 10 mod 2, and 10 mod 2 is 0. So that's good. So we print out 10. And then we get to the bottom, so now we do our change, so we go 12. Is 12 less than 16? Yes. So then we do 12 mod 2. 12 mod 2 is equal to 0. So is that good? Yes. So we print out 12. And then we go to change, goes to 14. Is 14 less than 16? Yes. So then we do 14 mod 2. And that's equal to 0, which is good. So we come in here, so we print out 14. And then we add 2 to 16. We say, is 16 less than 16? No. So since it's no, it continues on. So the exact output is 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So the second part of this question is, what is inefficient about this loop segment? Well, what's inefficient is, notice every time we go through this for loop, we always go in, we always enter if statement. So the if statement is always being executed. So therefore, since the if statement is always being executed, since if is always executed, we can remove it. And that is the inefficiency. So in here, what this is doing, this is checking if the number is even. And so since it's always being executed, we don't need the if statement. We can just simply print out I. Okay, let's look at the next question. So this is one a student sent me. They typed it out. So this capital W here should be small w, but that's okay. And the question says, basically, what is the output for this? So before I dive into this, what I'm going to do is I see I have a bunch of if statements. I'm going to actually kind of highlight the blocks here. So this is an if statement, so that's the start of an if block. And then I look down and I see right below it I have an else if. So this else if is paired with this if, and I keep going down and I have an else. So this else is paired with this if. So that's the one that's the first block we have. So an if can be written by itself, but the else if and the else have to be paired with some if. So then this if here, we come down, we see below is another if statement. So this one's on its own, so it will always be executed. And we have this one here on its own, so it will always be executed. So all I have to do now is trace through this. So if W is equal to 35, let's check this if statement. So 35 mod 3, well, what's 35 mod 3 equal to? Well, we can do this with a little rough work over here. I can do 35 divided by 3, so we get 1, 33, and we have a remainder of 2. Okay, so that's equal to, so this fails. So if this fails, I come to the else if, and I say, well, what about 35 mod 5? What's that equal to? That's equal to 0. So that passes. So we come in here. So W becomes 35 plus 2. So W becomes 37. So I have to remember that. So then I now, since this has been executed, I skip the else to here. So now I need to execute this line. So I'm going to get 37 plus 1 divided by 2. Well, what's that equal to? That's 38 divided by 2, which is 19. So therefore, this left side is 19. Is 19 equal to 19? Yes. So we get 37 plus 4, which is 41. And then we come down to this if statement. So we say now 41. Let's change colors again, just to keep things fun. So we get 41 mod 2. Well, we can see 41 is an odd number, so we know 41 mod 2 is 1. So that fails. So it skips this and prints out W. So W has the value of 41. So if I come down here and I look, there's my answer, 41. I hope that helped.